नमस्ते फ्रेंड, आप सभी का एक बार फिर से वेलकम। फ्रेंड्स, हमारे जो सीनियर पेंशन एक्टिविस्ट श्री सी वेणुगोपालन सर ने एक पत्र आईबीए चेयरमैन श्री V राव को लिखा और उन्होंने पॉइंट वाइज सारा डिटेल्स लिखा है। जो पेन ये लेटर एग्जॉस्टिव है, इसका लिंक मैं दूंगा जिसके थ्रू आप पूरा स्टडी कर सकते हैं। जो इंपॉर्टेंट जिस्ट है, पॉइंट है, मैं आपको बताता हूँ। फर्स्ट पॉइंट उन्होंने लिखा है जो वो है payment of dearness relief on basic pension. In the case of employees on rolls, dearness allowance is revised at quarterly intervals, and in the case of pensioner, it is revised at half-year intervals. This was all along resulting in the wrongful loss to the pensioners, though robbery of the amounts payable to them for meeting the increased cost of living in terms of the pension regulations by the banks. Inflation having the same effect to the employees and the retired employees. IBA has to have a relook into the matter and neutralize the loss caused to the retired employees in order that the ex gratia now paid to pensioners does not turn out to be a myth. इसके बाद उन्होंने उसमें कई क्लॉज दिए जो हमारे 2002 प्री नवंबर रिटायरीज हैं उनके बारे में है। और सेकेंड पॉइंट उनका था अपडेटिंग ऑफ पेंशन फ्रॉम टाइम टू टाइम। इन स्पाइट ऑफ आईबीए हैविंग रिकमेंडेड टू द गवर्नमेंट एंड मोड mandate the pension regulation 1995 with definite provisions under regulation 35(1) for updating the pension simultaneous with the revised pay scale arising out of each bipartite settlement. Pension in banks has not been updated ever since the advent of the pension scheme in the breach of the extant regulation. और उन्होंने उसका डिटेल लिखा हुआ है। और उसके बाद उनका थर्ड सेकेंड में इसी में पेंशन फंड पोजीशन ऑफ द पेंशन फंड राइट फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ द रिकॉर्ड नोट dated 25th May 2015. IBA was sympathetic to pensioner and wanted to undertake cost studies for updating pension, but the data, which are just the click of a mouse away, could not be fetched so far. It is known to everyone that the pension funds of all banks park about rupees 3,58,000 crore as of the 31st March 22. The annual payout of pension is less than 25% of the present pension to all their pensioners without touching the corpus in the fund, and there is no burden on the revenue of banks to meet the cost of updating. In spite of this, IBA was not updating the pension in banks. Third point, neglect of the law of the land by IBA. The Honorable Supreme Court had on 1st July 2015 ruled in the Civil Appeal number 1123 of 2015, State of Rajasthan and another versus Mahendranath Sharma, that pension shall not be less than 50% of the running pay bands corresponding to the pre-revised scale of pay. This was in the scenario where pension is payable with a cost to the government. IBA is neglecting this law laid down by the apex court is denying the updating of pension in banks, which is payable out of the pension fund created with the CPF surrendered by the employees and refunded by the retired employees and families of the deceased employee. The atrocity is done when the pension fund has a huge balance comprising the deferred wages of the employees and can pay 2 to 4 times the present pension to all pensioners out of the annual growth of fund without touching the corpus money. IBA giving a ex gratia to the bank pensioner is a comic act, as the ex gratia is something that can be paid after paying all normal dues and can be called a brigand's charity in the case of the bank pensioner. Fourth point है non-implementation of the pension amendment regulation 1998. और लास्ट जो फिफ्थ पॉइंट है वो मैं आपको बताता हूं। breach of section 10(7) of the Act of 5 of the 1970. The Banking Companies Acquisition and Transfer of Act 1917 prohibits boards of the banks from declaring a dividend and holding surplus profit as accumulated reserves in the book of account without making due provision, payment of superannuation benefits of employees. Considering that state-run banks had been declaring dividend up to 270% to the stakeholders, banks without paying due pension as mandated by the pension regulation banks had been robbing Peter to pay Paul. और उन्होंने ये सारी बातें मेंशन करके आईबीए चेयरमैन को लिखा है। फ्रेंड्स, इस मैं लिंक दूंगा ताकि आप डिटेल पढ़ सकें, क्योंकि इतना लंबा पत्र में सब पॉसिबल नहीं था कि मैं सब कुछ आपको बता सकूं। थैंक यू, नमस्ते।